Okay, good morning, everybody. Alex here from Festival of Enterprise, joined by His Highness Mark Masters. How are you doing, sir?
I'm all good. I'm all good. You okay? This sunny. Oh, and around me. By the way, that fire alarm doesn't mean it's going to be like that.
Great time. No, it's gone. There you go. That was the early morning test.
It goes off in a minute.
Okay. No, it's all good. All good. All good. So, coming from a very beautiful looking out the window now, very sunny pool in Dorset, and Mark is also coming from a very sunny pool in Dorset. We're probably separated by about half a mile, I reckon, if that. So where's everybody else coming from today? We've got Paola in Derbyshire. Louise has just posted up as well. I can see people piling in now. Thank you all for joining us today. Just to frame what we're going to be doing, we are going to be talking with Mark Masters. So Mark is the owner of content marketing consultancy, The ID Group. He's a believer for businesses to own their audience, create more meaningful content, and stand for something compelling. His focus is for businesses to embrace an owned media mindset and create, curate, and distribute within the channels that they have complete control of. He is co-presenter of the twice-weekly podcast Marketing Homebrew and co-curates the Once Upon a Time storytelling event. And I think, when's your next live event, Mark? I was just about to carry on with that amazing intro.
We are next Thursday. August
next Thursday.
Yeah. He's back for the next You Are the Media Lands Club online.
Woohoo! Love it, love it, love it. And today we are going to be talking what you can't measure can still have a massive impact on your business. So if you are producing content, there is a return on not only what you can see, but also on what is out of sight, yet still has an impact on you and your business. So you probably all know it is so easy to be a slave to the marketing dashboard, traffic, clicks, shares, reach, all of that. But why not focus on becoming a recognized voice in the space you want to dominate? Sales made as a result of your content can often be measured, but the place you are creating from, the reputation, profile, and authority you build all play their part too. So in this talk, Mark's going to look at the rewards you can benefit from where you can develop a content leadership position. Looking forward to this one.
Thank you.
The alarm is gone. That is the call for everybody to relax.
Wouldn't have that been awful if I just persevered and I was just going, you knew it was an actual fire alarm, and I'd be like, hey guys, can we all come back in the room at 10:30?
No. Glad you didn't. Fire is all clear, everyone. So Mark, take us through it.
Right, thank you very much, Alex. Morning, everybody. Right, if it's 10:05, one thing I'm not going to be doing is rabbiting on and on and on, and you're going to be getting a bit drained with a live video space. So if you give me around about half an hour, let me talk about what Alex has introduced. So those that don't know me, I'll get the presentation up in a minute. But hey, let's just have this time with me and you that have tuned in so far this morning. So what we're going to talk about is, as Alex highlighted, the ability to lean into the things that we can't measure, because for so many years, it's what's happened in the past few months, and things have changed so much. And let me tell you what, let me get this up now. Let me just get this up here. Let me just get the presentation up, everybody. So here we go. If you can all see this. So this is what I'm going to chat to you today. In fact, this is my little time with you guys today, is that I've changed the ID group. So there's two sides. There's You Are the Media, and now there's We Are the Media. And You Are the Media was based around how you can take ownership and you can create and you can build audience. And I was fascinated, and this whole premise around how you can be seen as an authority in your space. But how we can do it when we're starting from zero. So if you're not a part of it, if it sounds of interest to you, then come to there's the bit.ly link there at the bottom right as well. I've had a little bit of a break for a couple of weeks. It's been bonkers over the summer as we've created the live video space with You Are the Media Lands Club online, and it returns next Thursday the 6th. which also means that the weekly email returns as well at 6:30 next Thursday morning. So listen, there's the bit.ly link there to come to. But let me just give you a quick introduction, because I don't want you coming to this webinar with Alex now and me just using anecdotal evidence, or me selling something to you, or you thinking, hold on a minute, he's read Simon Sinek's Start With Why. He's just cut and pasting from that and using big screens. I just want to show you the proof. So this whole thing, what I'm talking to you now about this morning, is what we can't measure can still have a huge impact on your business. And all this started from me going out and starting this side project called You Are The Media. What we see here is the very first email that was sent at the end of October 2013. I published a book called The Content Revolution in 2015. We created live events. We started to create live events in 2016. That becomes a conference. That became a monthly live event that we also launched in Bristol this year. And obviously when the earthquake hit us all, and we had the conference that was planned for the end of May. So that's going to be happening now that's going to be happening in April 2021. And then what we managed to find as well is that whilst all this bad stuff has happened, we managed to find a home online with You Are The Media Lunch Club online. But my whole goal has been this, everybody. How can we talk, and how can we come from a place of authority, and how we can come from a place of, as I like to talk about it, content leadership. Because it's so super tough out there in a minute. And it always has been. And SEO has turned into, we're like dogs fighting over a bone here. But what I want to talk to you about today and share with you is not just, again, as I said, this is not just me in thoughts. This is stuff that has actually happened. Because as things have changed for all of us, right? So as things have changed so much for all of us in a short space of time, by looking at the things such as likes and shares, and views, and how looking at the marketing dashboards, how these have become almost our comfort blankets when things are a lot different. And I like this quote here from, if you haven't read this book, read Marketing Rebellion, came out last year from Mark Schaefer. And then he said this, look, he said, you can keep up with the pulse of culture, we can measure. You probably can't do both. And there's so much truth in this quote. Because on the one hand, right, where are we all today? We're all trying to keep up with demands and how people are using LinkedIn and everything else. But you have to keep up with consumer demands, customer demands, even if the measurement has not caught up with the culture yet. So how do you manage what you can't measure? And we are all, and this is me kind of saying the conclusion to us now, we're in a period, right, where we must experiment with new ideas, and what we need to look at here is using these ideas to share, and use these ideas to build. And let me just share. Let me just close. And that's what I want to that's what I'd like to share with you now with the presentation that I've put together. Let me just close this. A minute. So that's me kind of introducing what I'd like to share is this thing of what we cannot measure can have such an impact. So from that quote there from Mark Schaefer, what he mentioned, that's in his book as well. Let me get this back up. Let's get back in the room. So here we go here. And so let's set our stall up. Because everything that has a metric is attached to this particular level of achievement, everybody. And this is where we lived up. This is the way that we've always behaved, is this obsession with numbers is a safe place. And it stops us from making judgments. And quantifying things allows us to see what happens if we continue as we are or we stop, yeah? For instance, but the last time I looked, Facebook doesn't equate to anything. And we have to kind of move on, and how we move on and we think about things such as measurement, because what we can't see can be a huge impact on you and your business, which is why I say it's to champion what can't be measured, because creating and sharing. So this is centered around everybody about creating and sharing. And creating and sharing your best work rarely happens when you set this intention to align with a particular set of demographics or psychographics. We're doing this for other people, okay? And you're also doing this for yourself. When I say create, you've only got 3 options here. You can either create audio, and you can write, or you can do video. And this is what the whole focus is. What I'm talking about now is to champion what can't be measured. And let's just look now at some of the things that cannot be monitored. That's what I want to highlight here. There's 2 sides here. Let's look at this now. The things that we can't measure and what can't be monitored. And then I'm going to look and share with you as well is to think about this thing of what is intangible. And this comes from a place of content leadership. Again, everything I'm sharing here comes from what I've noticed and observed with the whole You Are the Media project. But it's this. Let's look at things that you cannot measure, everybody. It starts off with this, is the enthusiasm that you bring to the table. And enjoyment doesn't have a metric associated with it, but offers its own support. And it helps you create over time. And it makes other people aware of your problem. And all this starts from you gaining momentum, yeah? And the reason I do You Are the Media, okay, it takes up a lot of time. There's the writing, and there's the events, and there's the audio side, and everything else. And that's generated via the fun and the sheer joy from doing this and being involved with this since 2013. Because the moment this enthusiasm stops is when I'm going to stop it, right? What I'm trying to highlight for yourself is it's the spark and the drive, and it becomes the catalyst for so much more. Again, but what you can't measure. And again, it's something else that for you to champion what you can't measure is the way that your work helps other people. For instance, if you share something, if you write or an audio or you've written a blog article, and someone else takes an idea from you on board, then you've been genuinely helpful. And you're elevated to this place of trust. And this is a lovely, lovely place we can all be in now as we're all fighting to be heard and we're all fighting for our little place at the top table. There's this thing that's around trust. And if your message, so your writing, your blog, your video, your audio, or just what's on your website that moves beyond the About Us page and you selling to everybody how good you are. But if your message encourages others to think differently and then they can apply the thinking, it's something that you can't measure or just can't be seen. But what's happening, right? What's happening quietly and in the background is you've attracted a supporter, you've attracted a subscriber or someone who may be ready to buy from you at some point. And whilst this can then progress into something that can be measured, yeah? So someone that attends to come to an event or wants to work with you, it's the intangible start that you may not know about and how you make somebody feel that started it all. Here's a real relevant one as well. I just want to show you this graph. Let's think about private sharing. So we're seeing here now, this is from Get Social, because it comes as no surprise that the majority of shares take place in places that you cannot see, yeah? So when we here look at dark social, this could be a private DM on LinkedIn, or it could be messaging that's there on a Facebook group that you're not even a part of, or the conversation and shares that happen in places that we can't see that are in these different walled spaces that your work may be a part of. It's happening. It's happening in places that you don't set. And this is what's happening now, everybody, when we look at shares per channel. So the days, right? Remember those days of telling your Twitter followers to share please can you share the latest article, or going on to LinkedIn and telling other people to like and about the ebook that's just been shared. They're gone. So in their place, there's something far more organic happening outside of your control in private spaces. So here's the proof in the pudding. Next is this, is the vibe that you get from other people. And nothing beats that feeling of everyone being together in the moment. And this is something that I am seeing and enjoying in the current version of You Are the Media, with the You Are the Media Lunch Club online that's back again at the end of next week and every fortnight. And this is something that can't be measured. Because the good feeling that happens on the day is things such as this, what's happening with Alex, is these events as well. And another thing that doesn't lend itself to measurement is it's like that personal sense of achievement you feel when things simply go as planned, or you interact with others around you and you have the satisfaction of knowing that the content you created struck a chord with them. It wasn't there just about you bombarding the sales pitch, but it's about making someone else feel and enjoying it. Because trust me, these ephemeral moments, and I'm seeing this from the online side, is something to be savored as the recognition of you being on the right path. Because the potential for measurement may come some way down the line when activity scaled. For example, you take the form of someone telling others to attend an event that you put on. And let's move this as well. Is knowing the work that you're creating is improving. So this is kind of a personal thing now. Because I started this in 2013. I started You Are the Media in 2013. And it was rubbish. It was awful. There was no subscribers. My mum told me it was nice and she was enjoying the work. But that's what we all like, don't we, for these little seals of approval. And there's going to be no definitive moment when you're going to suddenly feel confident from what you're creating. Yeah, from what you're creating, from what you're writing, from what you're recording, from what you're broadcasting. Because self-assurance is not quantifiable. So also counterintuitive, though, it may seem at first glance, the more confident you become, the easier it's going to be to open up and acknowledge where you feel sure or feel able to recount instances where things go wrong. This is all about a big thing over the You Are the Media Lunch Club in the past few months has been this thing of vulnerability. And we've talked about vulnerability, but it always seems to be that those people that are more confident, more happy to share when things have gone disastrously wrong. And I've been okay with that. Again, that cannot be measured, but by having the ability to share and talk about things such as deleting the entire database, nearly going out of business in 2011, 2012, and sharing the real struggles. It's a big step to do that, but it's kind of a personal thing that cannot be measured. And this thing of openness and willingness to share the more personal experiences of your business journey, what happens is that it starts to become your differentiator and it becomes this magnet to bring people to you. Proof is there. I'm telling everybody, it was awful. So database like this time last year was around about 2,500 people. In one fell swoop, I deleted the whole lot, couldn't get it back, built it from scratch again. But again, hey, these are lessons that we learn, and which is why it's nice to be on things such as this today to tell these awful stories. Again, what we can't measure is this attachment to other people that are around you. Because when your media mix connects with others, okay, this could be your LinkedIn post, this could be other things that you do, it forges a path for the future. So from my side, there is the weekly You Are the Media email. And that does direct people to the events on and listen as they could be starting to become offline again. And one thing I like, right? I like this idea of growing older together with the You Are the Media community. I like the idea of that. And this thing as well of having this kinship and this attachment to others around you. And this is nothing to do, right, with a drive for more likes or for more social followers, but having a sense of responsibility to the people around you and what you do to help them. And that's what You Are the Media is. You Are the Media, and I've mentioned it a few times that those aren't aware, but You Are the Media, youarethemedia.co.uk, is a marketing and media training and learning community. And one thing that I realized is that it's a thing that brings people together and to create this sense of togetherness. Because the relationships that are built are not driven by some underlying drive to sell by any means necessary. Yes, there is selling that goes into it, but it's through finding this mutual space where people want to join you for the long term. And my last bit in this segment before I move on is this personal response or something. The things that marketing dashboards cannot measure is this thing here. Because the best part from sending the weekly You Are the Media email is not combing through open rates or looking at social shares or looking at clicks for the different sections of the email. But it's the interaction that happens after the email is sent. So these are right. So things like this. It's this one-to-one moments from someone that may say, "Look, thanks, I really enjoyed that," or someone may share an aspect from what was put together that struck a chord with them, or what somebody has taken on board from the previous few emails on what they're doing for their business. Because this real-time closeness is something that a marketing dashboard cannot evaluate everybody. And it feels good. It feels good for you as well. And it feels good to the other person who got in touch with you. And it means that you're both listening to each other. And this is where this whole thing is going. This is why I feel so excited and buoyed, because we can do this. So I built this from zero. It was just graft. It was time that went into this. Stopped watching the football on a Monday night and everything else, and the time that I put into it burnt me out. But I realized that over time, it's this thing that enables you to connect with other, becomes the differentiator and that thing of trust, and how people want to buy with people that they know, trust, and like. That we've heard that word many, many, many times. But it's this, everybody. So as I move on to this thing now of the return on what you create on your content efforts, and it's what is out of sight can still have an impact on you and your audience. And it works in two ways, everybody. It's like this. It's what you create that's tangible and what's intangible. So when I say the topic what I'm sharing with you this morning is what you can't measure has a big impact, can have a big impact on you. And we can either look at it two ways. What we've always been used to, and I'll show you in a minute, the tangible side and the intangible return. So what we're all used to, what you're probably used to when it looks at the tangible side, is all this stuff that we see here. And I still find it really overawing. I still find all this stuff, because this is supposed to be seen as means of seeing where success is, and what we are creating is working for other people. And we look at these, this is what we see on these dashboards that are in front of us as well. And it's natural to expect a return for your content efforts. And there are many resources that cover this thing around metrics. But when you focus on too many performance indicators, it can become really confusing, and it can become quite disheartening. Let me highlight some simple tangible returns. So I'm not throwing this under the carpet, by the way. I'm not throwing this under the bus, because the tangible side does work. Things like this. You want a bigger audience. Yeah, you want a bigger audience. So web traffic presents an indicator that what you create or spend brings people to you. And this could be by progress, by wanting an increase in email subscribers, for instance, where you dedicate pages to draw people in. It could be like this. You want more leads. And you look at what motivates people to step forward and be seen. The return here is when the content you create moves people from being just numbers via looking at Google Analytics, who are aware of your content, to those that want to leave their details and their emails, often receive the information from you, but it's based on a place where they can understand where you are coming from, and there is that sense of enjoyment and knowledge and information that you're sharing. Because this is the thing, email newsletters are massive, really help me, because whether it's weekly or monthly for you, the newsletter you produce and send regularly, this is the silent contract you have with somebody else. So you want leads, man, this is the place to do it. So look at the people that you can draw away from social channels to come to you. And also looking at the tangible side, the tangible side, the returns, is your numbers barometer, and the boost in traffic, the conversions of leads, and the reach you can achieve. And Google Analytics provides brilliant insights when it comes to looking at the return for your efforts. But this side I want to kind of just pick up on here is this thing of the intangible return. And this is when your narrative, so the word that you create, looks to tap into carving out something of this. And you can do it in this thing of this content leadership niche, where your intention is to get others thinking and changing their behavior. And by leadership, right, and I mean saying something that others haven't said before in your industry, or taking a specific perspective and putting your own stamp on a sector of the industry that you are a part of. And it's about being brave, right? And it's about saying what can make others or you feel uneasy. For instance, I share topics that I mentioned before about some tough things that happen to my business. It's tough for me, as it kind of shared this thing of, it's not weakness. But when we look at an intangible return, it's this. It's a return for getting into the habit of content creation and building your confidence alongside building your audience there. And the second one is, look, this return for the connections you make and the trust that you build. And the third point here is the return for the value you create and the insight you give and the perspectives that you share. And I just want to hone into now is that what we can all do and what you can do is by taking this leadership position. So the intangible sits alongside the tangible. So the views, the clicks and the shares, but it offers so much more to work with than just data and figures. Let me share some of the returns that you get. So again, we talk about the returns that you get now from a leadership position. What you're creating, where the focus is not just straight away on volume, is this. So you commit to something. It's a bit like this. These what Alex has been doing over the summer or since the bad stuff started. You commit to something and you show up regularly. And it's not easy. I know it's not easy. But over time, the more you practice, the more you put in, the more you improve. So it's like Alex as a presenter on this video format now is out of this world. And the more you invest your time in trying to figure all this out, you tune into it and you're continually okay with adjusting and tuning in. And because you find out what works. And you're in it for the long haul, everybody. And the work that and it's about finding out what your audience enjoys as well. For instance, my quest is not telling the world about marketing, but about what it takes for small businesses and people to build their audience by creating and contributing to an overall message. And this thing of gathering an audience around you on and offline makes it easier to introduce new products or initiatives that you want to do in the future. The next is this: you drive towards this. This is where the real powerful stuff now. And you want to become recognized as a trusted person in your industry based on the insights that you share, based on saying the things that not everybody else is saying. And what you're trying to do over time, this is about relevance, and this is about resonating with other people as well. And the next point is move away from just being campaign focused, because people come to expect a particular perspective from you, or one that goes beyond a single week or a month's worth of content. And your approach becomes something that others identify and differentiate with you. And this can only happen when you dedicate, when the dedication leads to building momentum. And what momentum comes to is that you build this base. Because every week or month that you're creating, you're making these regular deposits into your content bank, and your return on investment grows. For instance, you can make your content deposits go further by one piece of work contributed to so much more. For instance, from one main article that I share each week, for instance, this started off as a blog article, is that the work that you create becomes a talk, it becomes a podcast, it becomes an email, it becomes social posts, and it becomes part of this ongoing library of work that sits on your website. And this return, again, it's something that cannot be measured, but what we're doing is leading with this place of trust. Let me do one more here before I finish. It's this ability for us now to provide value over the long term. It's about relevance, not just numbers. Because the investment you make, and the investment in creation, and the message that you're trying to share with everybody, is so people know who you are, what your business does, and the role that you could do to fulfill for them. And it works best when you find your niche and you continue to deliver value within it. And this happens, right, when you let go of a focus on accumulating mass, driven by views and clicks and shares, and you choose relevance instead. We're not here for everybody at the end of the day. You probably couldn't manage it, but you're here for the right people. A lot of the stuff that I've taken has been from a man called Kevin Kelly. If you just type in 1,000 fans, he explains how all that works. But then Seth Godin wrote in 2009 a really good article called First 10. 1,000 people don't necessarily need that to build businesses and a life that we can enjoy and enjoy the holidays. Just type in First 10 as well from Seth Godin. It's a brilliant piece. But that's what I say. It's not about accumulating mass and we're driven by more and more followers. It's irrelevant. Because what starts as a gradual process, it ends up generating its own momentum. So what I just want to share here as the last slide is that in the recent Edelman Trust Barometer, so that's released at the start of every year, this is about how people trust businesses, the government, and the media. The conclusion here was that what's important is to do the right thing, and it's to partner and to lead. And it's those people and those businesses that want to lead and can lead us out of this hole that we're all in. And we can do it as small businesses, is the way that we are genuinely going. And then we just kind of round up now. Now, benchmarking what can be seen offers up this really useful and tangible way of understanding the return on the work that we put in. For instance, if your goal is traffic, then paying for ads is a sensible choice. It makes sense. But another way to look at it is to look for the return is to focus on the more intangible returns offered by this thing of leadership. And you may not necessarily be able to make this immediate judgment of success, but you never know what's bubbling under the surface. And this is down to the reader, the person that you're sending to. This is the reader, this is the listener, this is the viewer who is on the sidelines, who's seeing your work and then deciding to commit when the time is right for them to buy or to subscribe. And this is the work that acts as evergreen resource for you on your website as well, that works for you long after you've created it. So what I want to highlight is to say that, look, growth can be seen in these things that are intangible, the things that you cannot necessarily see. But what you're doing all the time is you're carving out this position of leadership, of content leadership. And it means the outcome is it become known for what you stand for and you gain longevity. And this very important thing that's happened at the moment is relevance in your marketplace as this trusted source. So listen, if you enjoyed that, come and join us. The email starts again next Thursday morning at 6:30. Have a look at Lunch Club as well. And that kicks off again next Thursday lunchtime when we're traveling around the world again and to bring people to us for 1 hour at lunchtime. And I promise you, I will make it the best Thursday of the best part of the day next week. Right, I'm going to stop my sharing and let's go back into the room.
Awesome. So next Thursday. And what were your thoughts on live events, Mark? You obviously seen our glorious leader Boris's thoughts on the subject. What was it, about 10 days ago now, I think, when he put out?
Beginning of October, isn't it?
What are you thinking?
Great. Listen, we got to get all this back up and running again. So my thinking is this. I love all the online side. I love this because it helps spreads the message out, and we can bring people in like what you're doing here. But one thing that I'm missing, genuinely missing, reach is great. I'm genuinely missing that intimacy. I'm genuinely missing, I can't, I'm talking to you guys now. I can't gauge it. I can't gauge the audience, whether you're looking at LinkedIn or whatever you're doing. I am missing it. So I've cancelled the conference. That didn't happen in May. We're going to do it in April next year. I'd rather just, we're going to test it out. Sure. What we've got to do is prove it, haven't we? So if we're going to do a live event, we have to share how it works. There's 4 people sitting around the table. We're going to show people it works like this. We've just got to prove to everyone that we can create these comfortable environments, that we're not putting people under pressure or making people feel vulnerable again. And
what's your because you've been doing your the media throughout the last 4 months online. What's the kind of vibe you're getting from your audience? Do you think people are still anxious about getting together, or do you think people are literally craving that human contact? And I totally get it with you. You normally be able to look someone in the whites of the eyes, get a smile out of them, get a smirk out of them, and kind of feed off that energy. And it's just like a blank screen at the moment, isn't it? And the comments are amazing. Thank you to Dan, Paola, John, etc. But it's just so different.
It is totally, it's really different, isn't it? But I think people are ready for it. I think I think at the beginning, when all this started, we jumped into Zoom, we jumped into live video, and it was just a means of, this is a difficult thing that many people had. This is my main lesson from all this, right? And this is for all of us, really. I'm always learning how we need to build a space before we need it, right? So who is to say that the bad stuff happens again? But what you've done here, you've built that space already. But what we saw at the beginning of the pandemic was then people were doing how to get an abundance of leads or how to get great website copy. And you do it and you see a screen grab of 7 thumbs up doing that. So I think that The difficult thing is that how we have to still keep that energy and that pulse going when we create live events. Yeah. So, which is why I will do silly things. We will sing at the end of Lunch Club. I will get guests in and we will put the spotlight on people that are doing good stuff. So it's just how we manage these mediums. If I'm being honest with you, I prefer the online. I prefer, is that John Jockham there who's there giving it the
I was going to say that.
So this is my thing. So when he's there he is. Right, there we go. We are live.
We are live.
So people like, right, here we go. So people like John. John, part of you of the media. I haven't seen him for months, but I just love the idea that we're going to do something that will happen in the summer that starts to bring everybody back together. But it's these little steps, isn't it? We're all starting again. We have these little steps, and I don't want to ignore the live video space. This is brilliant. I love it because I'm learning more. All the guests that we're bringing in from around the world, I'm learning too. So when we have the on-demand video afterwards, it's like this. I will watch afterwards. I will write notes. I am a better person from doing this live space or learning how all this stuff works. What about you? Do you feel that you're a bit more when it comes to presenting and?
Oh God, yeah, absolutely. And I've always, shied away from video, but believe it or not, people know me more having, had my Screw It, Just Do It podcast, and I've kind of, embraced that audio, and hey, probably a natural thing because I started out in radio, BBC Radio Wales in Cardiff, like 30 years ago. So it's kind of my natural home. So it's kind of put me out of my comfort zone. But I don't know, just kind of feels natural now. But I just miss that human interaction, these conversations, the relationships that you make at a live event. It's just, you can't beat it and nothing can substitute it. But I totally, that biggest lesson that you said, I love that. The fact that you built something that if anything like this happens again, touch wood, it doesn't, but who knows, and look at all these second spikes and all that kind of stuff. But built it already, we've had, I think I said to you offline before, crazy number of people now. I mean, it was 15,000, but I think it's about 20,000 registrations it probably up to now in 4 months. That there wasn't an online audience before. We did, 2 events a year for 4,000 people. And it's like, wow, there's a whole nother audience out there who've, found, the speakers that we've had engaging, that are now, engaging with the different speakers and interviewees we've had, and that's helped them. So it all works, doesn't it, really? I think it all works together.
Yeah. You know what? And as John just said there, we all have another string to our bow. And this is what I want to do. This is what I would like. For us all, with what you're doing with this side, with the Lunch Club from my side, it's that thing of having the ability to build that space of having subscribers and having people around us, because we've all felt down. It's all affected us personally and everything else. But I didn't realize this, having the people around me, it genuinely saved me, because it genuinely meant the world to me to know that people were there, because it feels horrible. Imagine if you say, right, we did silly things like quizzes on a Friday night. Okay, we've got a bit, you're doing it, but you're letting other people take the lead. But when people turn up because they want to be a part of it, that's such a nice thing. And you value that. Do you know what I mean? And this is why I talk about now, is that how we can, which is why when we see the Facebook likes and everything else, it's great. It's what does it account to?
Yeah.
That having people around you and in the room, or these comments that we have from one another, because you never know where your allies are and the support that is out there to help us with our efforts.
Absolutely. Thanks for your comments, John. To Dan says, this presentation endorses the concept that at the end of the day, people want value, relevance, leadership, trust, and being solution-driven. Solid presentation.
Good. That's good, isn't it? Totally. And that thing of leadership, and it doesn't matter whether we're a small business. It doesn't matter whether we're just one person. But it all comes down to our perspective that we're prepared to share with other people, and that's where I come from leadership, and how you can drive people around you that want to be a part of it, where there is that sense of connection, because everyone can benefit. Everyone can benefit. There's such a sweeping change that's happening to all of us, which is why I'm saying, listen, everybody, let's not, it doesn't, just because you had 2 visits to your website this week, this doesn't necessarily make it a bad thing. Oh, another gem. You never know where your allies are. He's having a good morning, aren't you? You're loving it this morning.
It's great, isn't it? Thank you, Paola. Very good indeed.
Make sure you join, Paola. Make sure you join the You Are the Media community. Make sure you join it. Go on, and I'll send you a personal video from me to you when you leave your email.
Should be great. Paola and I, she joined us during the Festival of Enterprise, and we've been having regular comments on there. Well said indeed. Yeah, do you know what? We had something. A friend of mine started a podcast for cabin crew, for airline cabin crew. Just started a Facebook group, and I don't know, 3 people 8 weeks ago. And there's now 3,000 people in this Facebook group, but it's not those numbers. Last night, somebody sent a message and said, after watching that video, I've gone out because so many people have lost their jobs in the airline industry. Travel industry has taken a massive hit. So it is of the moment. People again are looking for a home for like-minded people who are going through the same experience of them. We had an amazing message that came through saying after watching Monday's show, I've gone out and I've landed my dream job. I couldn't have done it without watching, it's inspirational interview that we did with somebody else on there. And it's something like that one person sending that comment in beats the 3,000, the big number 3,000 that people have joined, and 6,000 people have watched the video. Do you know what I mean? It means far, far more.
But that feels good for you. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
This is what I mean. All this stuff has been isolating. All this stuff has, it's been horrible. So what Andy just mentioned now, we got to be relevant, and we got to, which is why do you know what? I've learned to let my guard down a little bit. And it's because in the early days, we deliver, and it has to be prim and proper. Do you know what I mean? But at the beginning, as we started, the stuff was all clunky. When I did that chat with you as well before, I couldn't get the presentation to work and stuff like that. People are forgiven. But we have to, the mood that we're all in, and I don't care whether and as we're kind of coming out of this as well, and I do believe there is this little leveler for us all, and how we learn, and what you're doing here, and you're saying, right, I'm going to bring all these really good people on board here, and what we're going to share. And I'll tell you what, I'll field, what you're doing. I'm going to field the questions over this side. I'm going to make sure that people feel a part of this, and above all else, you're going to enjoy being part of my webinar that I'm going to host, and we have to facilitate that, and we have to do it in a way that has a smile, in a way that doesn't mean to say, right, imagine if all I was going to do today is just find us some means to get you guys to sign up for some mastermind group or something else like that. Oh, come on, Mark. It's 10 o'clock on a Tuesday morning. Just give me something that's kind of interesting.
And interestingly enough, we are putting your last talk here on the Festival of Enterprise. We're putting that out on the Screw It, Just Do It podcast next Wednesday. I was going to let you know about that. So that'll be going out to 146 countries. Yeah, 146 countries we're up to now, 15,000 people. Boom. So that's going out there next Wednesday, week tomorrow. So I will send you loads of artwork and good stuff to share with your audience who didn't hear that one, which was a really good one. It's one of the most popular ones. So.
I did that as a means. I thought, right, when everything's gone bad, I'm going to now revert back to simple things, to what people can do. And that's what I did by thinking, right, I'm going to see where I can take this and talk and use this. And then and again, for all of us, it started as something that I wrote and I shared it as part of a weekly article. But there's things that you can break down and just get so much mileage out of it. There you go, including still out there in August.
Yeah, indeed, exactly. Just keeps going, doesn't it?
The gift that bloody keeps giving.
The gift, that's what I was thinking about. Couldn't think of the phrase. Awesome. Well, look, thank you very much. I just wanted to scroll up to another one where
Louise, who's Louise, pleasure. I hope you enjoyed it. Louise, what's your surname?
Yeah, it hasn't got it on there.
Look at it. Louise, if you're not part of the You Are the Media community, come and join it. Come on down. Let me give you this. If you haven't got it,
type the link in. I was going to say, because more people will see this on the replay. Obviously, this is. We're also live.
Beginning.
No, we're also live on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. So people will be able to see these on the replay. There you go. So people are watching this on the replay. That's the last thing they will see. Will be the link there for youothermedia.co.uk for those of you who are listening to this on social. You literally, as soon as I press end broadcast, the replays are going to be available here. So again, anyone that you think that you know will find value from this, literally send them the link that you joined with, and they can come and watch it. They can come and watch it again. And likewise, if you're just lazing on the beach and you're watching this on Facebook, again, it will be on there. Ad infinitum. As soon as we finish on here, it will be there for posterity. So there you go. Cool. Well, I'll let you crack on with your day, Mark. You've got the rest of the week to conquer.
Let's smash it. Thank you for having me on. Thanks for Alex. Really appreciate it.
You're welcome. Enjoy the rest of your summer, my friend. I will see you very soon, I hope.
Yeah, take it easy.
Thank you, everybody. Bye now, everyone. Bye-bye.